I think Zoom will probably. Perfect. There we go. Zoom says those wonderful things. Recording in progress. So thanks to the Career Committee for organizing all of these events for students and engaging in your career exploration. So there's an official registration form linked to the chat feature. I'm going to input it right now, and I would just love it if you all could go through and just do this very quickly. This is going to be something that I'll put into the chat throughout our conversation today in case any late arrivers come in so they can see it. But please click on that link so we know who is in attendance today, please. Career Treks are a UW system initiative connecting students with regional employers. Treks have the support of UW system and other state leaders who are deeply invested in retaining talent in our state. There's a trek almost every Tuesday this semester. It's always at 2 p.m. and you are also able to see those previous treks via recording on the UW River Falls website, and that will be sent out to you all after this trek. So next week's trek, I just wanted to let you all know, is going to be featuring Northwind Solar, and it's going to be hosted by UW Stevens Point. And at this point, we are going to do a quick live poll so that we can allow our employer partner to see who is all in the audience. So please complete it as it pops up. I'm going to launch it real quick here. And we'll just take about less than 30 seconds for you all to just go through and click through this quick poll so we can see who's in the audience. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for doing that poll. I am going to end that poll real quick, and then I'm going to hand it over to Susan over at PPD to continue this on. So it's my pleasure to introduce Susan as a part of PPD, a part of Thermo Fisher Scientific. They look forward to taking any of your questions at the end throughout the chat tool. That would be fantastic. I'll be gathering those questions throughout that. And I also do invite you to share your screen, Susan, and take it away. I believe I made you a co-host, so that should be good to go.
Perfect. If I can just get a heads up or confirmation that it is working. Can you see it, Emily?
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay, perfect. All right. Oops, sorry, I'm going to go back here for a second. So are we good?
I believe we're good to go.
All right, awesome. Everyone, thank you so much for joining the Trek session today. We, as PPD, part of Thermo Fisher Scientific, are really excited to be here. I am an associate manager within talent acquisition at PPD, and really excited to be able to share with you a company overview, talk about some of the more technical things at the GMP lab in Madison, Wisconsin, Middleton more specifically, and then follow up with opportunities. I'm excited to answer your questions as well. My team was originally going to join, and that is Abby and Shakira, but unfortunately the Zoom links are not working for them for whatever reason. So I will be singly getting through the deck today. So I apologize that you have to listen to just me today, and not two of my other team members as well. But I'd like to start out just with a quick overview of the Thermo Fisher Scientific PPD relationship. So we as PPD were acquired by Thermo Fisher Scientific back in December of 2021. So we're just shy of 18 months into the acquisition. They acquired us as an entire business unit. So they did not previously have a CRO or a contract research organization offering within their services. And they wanted to, given all of the involvement that they have in the pharmaceutical industry and with the clients that they work with. So we were a really great add-on to their business. And because we're really good at what we do, they haven't changed very much. They basically just said, hey, do what you do, but help, contribute to a larger organization. So we've actually seen a ton of benefits from it. From a technical and scientific standpoint, we get to utilize all of their manufactured laboratory equipment, which is great. And that's actually probably how you know the Thermo Fisher name is from working in your labs. So that's been a huge bonus, specifically for the laboratories division. But then additionally, from a personnel perspective, going from a 30,000 person company to a 130,000 person company, it's been extremely beneficial to be on a larger company's benefits. We now have an awesome mental health benefit that any person on the benefits at Thermo Fisher Scientific can have a monthly therapy session for mental health, which is amazing, and that's included in your benefits. We also have a lot of really great work-life balance benefits, as well as excellent health insurance, and a big step up in our 401k match. So from a personnel standpoint, it's been fantastic, and really great things to think about as you are approaching graduation, especially to think about what you're looking for in a full-time job and at your first company. So I will move forward to the next couple of slides. And actually, I can see that one of my team members was able to join. Hi, Abby.
Hey, Susan. I'm so sorry, everyone. Technical difficulties.
But Abby, did you want to just go ahead and jump into the, well, why don't you introduce yourself and then jump into the company overview?
Sure thing. So hi, everyone. My name is Abby Newman. I am a senior coordinator on the university recruitment team at PPD, part of Thermo Fisher Scientific. I'm not sure how far Susan got into explaining things about the organization, but I joined the team in 2021, I believe, as an intern while I was still in school. And then I joined the organization full time after I graduated from UW Whitewater. And I do a lot of things related to our internship program. So I help out with our recruiting and then a lot of the activities and events that interns will participate in while they are with us. And I'm happy to do the company overview. Susan, do you want to go to the next slide for me? Okay, so I love this graphic. This is something that really helped me understand what a contract research organization does within the drug development process when I first started at PPD. And it's a super great representation of the amount of time and money that goes into the drug development process. So as a contract research organization, our company and our laboratories and our clinics work with most, if not all, of the top pharmaceutical companies in the world to help them get their drugs, their like instruments used to administer drugs, and different therapies through FDA approval. So none of our laboratories have anything to do with the drug discovery phase. Usually our clients bring us their compounds that they want us to test after they've done the drug discovery phase, but we do have our hands in pretty much every other part of the process. So specifically at our GMP laboratory, we do a lot of the preclinical testing on drugs and compounds before they go into clinical trials. But then we do have many different sites that work through all phases of clinical development. And what we do for the pharmaceutical companies is extremely important so that we document all of the information needed to submit to the FDA to ultimately get approval. And whatever we can do to kind of bend that time and cost curve is just going to benefit our clients and the patients that need those drugs and therapies. You can go to the next slide, Susan. Okay, and I just wanted to show this little breakdown here. I'm not sure how much Susan talked about the Thermo Fisher acquisition of PPD. So when I started with the organization, we were PPD, and I believe it was just before the new year in 2022 that we were officially acquired by Thermo Fisher Scientific, and we are now known as the Clinical Research Group within Thermo Fisher Scientific. And these are kind of our core areas where we have opportunities in the organization. So a lot of corporate opportunities. We were headquartered in Wilmington, North Carolina, before the acquisition. Thermo Fisher's headquarters is in Boston, Massachusetts, but still have a lot of opportunities on the East Coast, but most of those opportunities are actually remote. For our laboratories, obviously we have the one closest to all of you here in Middleton, Wisconsin is our GMP laboratory, but we do also support our central laboratory in Highland Heights, Kentucky, which is really, really close to Cincinnati, Ohio. It's kind of a suburb of it. And then our bioanalytical and vaccine laboratories in Richmond, as well as some clinical labs in, they're not listed down here. Austin, Texas for sure. Las Vegas, Nevada is another location for those. And then we do have an Orlando, Florida site as well for where they conduct clinical trials. And then we have our clinical side of the business, which is a lot of the process of what it takes to go into the clinical trials. So a lot of site monitors, clinical trial coordinators, a lot of nurses and phlebotomists and things in that side of the business. Next slide. I did just want to show a graphic of where all of our laboratories are located that support drug development. So obviously the laboratories that I listed here in the US, but we do also have locations in Ireland, Belgium, China, and Singapore. And then just in general, Thermo Fisher has opportunities all over the globe. This is our mission, and our mission is really our purpose. So we enable our customers to make the world healthier, cleaner, and safer. And I already kind of touched on one of the ways that we help them make the world healthier with that drug development, where we come in that drug development process and help them get drugs and therapies to market as soon as possible. Definitely not something we take lightly. This is kind of the basis of everything we do here at PPD. And to go a little bit deeper into that, on the next slide, we have what we call our 4I values. And this is really kind of the foundation of everything we do here at PPD. So integrity, intensity, innovation, and involvement. I do really kind of like to share how we walk the walk in these areas and not just talk the talk. So in terms of integrity, specifically talking from CRG standpoint, the clinical research group standpoint, like I said, we work with all of the top pharmaceutical companies, but we won't take contracts or work with clients that don't really align with our values. So for example, we had a vaping company come to us asking us to test some of their devices, and we did not end up working with them just because we did not feel as though it aligned with our values. Intensity, this is a really, really fast paced industry. Even though the drug development process takes such a long time, as we saw in those previous slides, you have to be first to market with these products. Otherwise, you're going to miss out. You're going to have to scrap the project that you had been working on and start all over again. So very, very intense environment. Innovation, like I said, whatever we can do to help cut the cost and time curve of that drug development process, we are always looking for ways to innovate and improve that and get drugs and therapies to market as quickly as possible. And then involvement, I specifically really love to talk about the business resource groups that we have available to us as colleagues at PPD Thermo Fisher Scientific. And I go into that a little bit more on the next slide, if you'd like to go ahead, Susan. But these are all of our business resource groups that we have as groups that are available to our colleagues here at PPD Thermo Fisher Scientific, and they can be formed based on a number of things. But as you can see, there's a lot here based on racial makeup, ethnicity. Our 49 API voices is specifically for our Asian and Pacific Islander colleagues. I'll skip African heritage because Shakira is actually a member of the board on that group. So I'll let her introduce herself and talk about that a little bit. Possibilities really does a lot of advocating and provides a lot of support to our colleagues with disabilities. OLA for our Latinx population, Pride Plus for our LGBTQ plus communities here, women's empowerment, our veterans group. And I want to add as well that you do not have to identify as a member of one of these groups to join. You can join any of these as an ally. So for example, women's empowerment is not just a network of women. There are also a lot of men that are a part of the group as advocates, as allies as well. And some of the ways that you can get involved with these organizations is so OLA and 49 API Voices, for example, will host a lot of um, virtual cooking classes that they record and they have an archive of them, so you can go back and make the authentic recipes that they show. They also do a lot of educational opportunities. So during the Lunar New Year, for example, we hosted an event where we learned a lot of the kind of mythology behind it, a lot of the traditions. That was super fun. We had a flag raising ceremony not too long ago of the pride flag at our Richmond campus. So definitely always ways to get involved. And Shakira can actually talk a little bit more specifically about the things that she does with the African Heritage Group. Shakira?
Hi, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself since I popped on a little bit late. But my name is Shakira Kellum. I am the Associate Corporate Recruiter within Talent Acquisition, but I specifically support the university recruitment team with all of the recruitment efforts as far as our undergraduate and graduate level internships goes within the CRG. As Abby Newman has said, I am a part of African Heritage. I'm a part of their communications pillar. So I am responsible for getting a lot of the communication out, working with the other pillars to ensure that we have everything to get to our members and also to educate everyone else outside of African Heritage. We recently had our very first flag raising for Black History Month. That was something super exciting. We had it at 3 different locations, and we are looking to expand it and also have that virtually as well for those who can't necessarily get to a location. We also have our Toastmasters Club, which just helps you with like professional speaking, professional development. And also I know they meet like once every month and they just talk through different ways that you can learn how to speak professionally. This is something that anyone who is an ally or a part of African Heritage can join, and highly recommend if you're someone who are making that transition from like a collegiate your collegiate career into like the professional force with us, hopefully. Also, we started African Heritage because it was a little bit after the George Floyd incident that happened, and we wanted to just create a space of belonging for those who identify, as Black within the company, and also those who are allies and just wanted to support us as well. Just as Abby said, you don't necessarily have to be someone who identifies or like ethnically or racially with the BRGs to be a part of it. So if you're someone who wants to support, that's always something that we're looking for. And I am also an ally of OLA as well. So I definitely enjoy their cooking classes. But yeah, that's a little bit about African Heritage. And I will go ahead and pass it back.
Thanks, Shakira. These groups I would compare to student organizations that you might be a part of on campus. They have a board where you're able to get involved. This is kind of additionally to your professional career track at PPD Thermo Fisher. And there's tons of opportunities to get involved, to celebrate, to learn, to create. They're just a really great way to connect. And then I think we go to Susan to kind of let you know what we do at our GMP laboratory.
Thanks, Abby and Shakira. So let's talk a little bit more about the technical stuff, right? So you know a little bit of who we are, what we do, and what our culture is like. So now I want to get to the good stuff and talk about what are you actually doing in the laboratories. So we at the Middleton site, it is a good manufacturing processes lab, and basically, if you're unfamiliar with GMP, they are very specific regulations and guidelines that dictate what can and cannot be sold and go to market based on degradation, purities, characterization, active ingredients, like all of that needs to be measured and specified so that it can be, so that the quality control is extremely high for obviously something that's going to go into the human body. So with that being said, that's the testing that we really do. So you're gonna see a bunch of, hopefully, if you're in the life sciences on this call, you've seen a lot of these terms in your laboratories, whether you have learned about them academically or been able to put into practice in an academic lab. Hopefully some of these terms are familiar to you. So I would say HPLC, STS page, PCR, ELISA, and appearance, pH, and osmolarity testing. Those are those are the biggest and I would say highest volume types of testing that we're doing on a day-to-day basis. Now on the next couple of slides, I'm going to go into, so what are you running those tests on? And then we'll go into a couple of specialized areas as well with some additional types of testing. So we concentrate at the GMP lab, both in the small molecule space and the large molecule space. And we have multiple labs within both of those segments. So if you're focused on small molecule, typically what we're seeing in terms of majors for those groups are chemistry and biochemistry. Absolutely, you can have a biology degree and be very successful in these laboratories, but that's just typically where you would get placed if you were interested in the chemistry and biochem side. So with that being said, small molecule, these are going to be your low molecular weight products. Tons of different types of dosage forms that you could test, but I would say most commonly you're going to see tablets and capsules, but you may also see injectables, oral suspensions or granules, and they'll either be taken orally, inhaled, applied topically. We even do things like testing sunscreen, or injected into muscles or veins. So this is quite, this really runs the full gamut of delivery systems into the body, and it makes it really fascinating because you could work on 15 different products in 1 year at the GMP lab. If you're interested in pharma as well, it's a fantastic career. It's a fantastic career growth as well. But you may work on one product for 7 years and then it doesn't get FDA approval. So in that, I mean, and that has its validity. We need people to do those jobs, but those are some of the things that you can weigh when you're thinking about, okay, what do I want my career to look like? Do I want to work on things that are going to get to market, or do I want to be part of that experimental, stage? So all good things to think about, but that's small molecule. And a really good way to think about the kind of the differences and some of the things that we test. We will test drug substances, so the actual API, or we may test the entire drug product itself. So that's when the additives have been used, fillers, coatings, etc. And kind of an easy way to think about this is if you compare it to chocolate or like a chocolate bar, the cocoa is the drug substance. So sometimes we'll test that cocoa. Other times we will test the actual candy bar itself or the drug product, the final product. So high performance liquid chromatography, HPLC, again, very likely super familiar to you. You can see that there's multiple parts to this machine, this mechanism that you're responsible for knowing how to run, preparing samples for, running it, pulling your data, doing the data analysis, sending it off to QC. That could be 1 week of your life in the lab. You're wearing all of those hats. So you're trained on everything that you will do, but even as an assistant scientist, you are responsible for wearing multiple hats. Some of the more specific testing that we have, which I think our Inhalation Lab is super cool, one of our really cool specialized labs. This is a specialized small molecule lab, and they are doing testing with very, very cool instrumentation that is meant to mimic the lung, because that's what they specialize in. So you can see that the NGI, or the next generation impactor, all of those small holes that you can see on the top, that's meant to mimic the different size of how the I'm not a scientist, so I don't explain this quite as well as an inhalation analyst would, but basically it's meant to mimic the different sizes that a drug would go through the lungs. So into the main parts all the way down to the alveoli, something like that. But that's really what that's meant to mimic. And you can see even on the left-hand side that metal L-shaped rod, that's actually meant to be the mouth and the throat. So that's one of the ways that we're testing some of these products. They do assays, appearance, impurity testing, uniformity testing. You can see that we have delivered dose testing, spray pattern analysis, and all of those go into making sure that a drug is going to be effective if the delivery system is through the lungs. One of the drugs that was really cool that we were working on a few years ago is it's a new type of product that's coming out to market. And so you can probably tell that most of what we've done in inhalation is focused on allergies and asthma. That's really been the bread and butter for a long time. But research has really started to show that a lot of different drugs could be successfully brought to the body through the lungs. So we were actually testing a product that if you are at high risk for a heart attack, you would be prescribed this emergency inhaler that would administer, if you felt symptoms of a heart attack coming on, you would administer this to yourself, and it would be a stopgap between having the symptoms and paramedics arriving to keep you alive. So really, really cool. Even though small molecule is a little bit more of the more traditional drugs that are being tested there also are some really new cool types of products coming to market and utilizing small molecule testing to get there. So now to kind of switch to the biologic side. Like I said, small molecule, a little bit more traditional. Biologics and biopharmaceuticals, this is really the new wave in the direction that pharmaceuticals are going, because they can be much more, a biologic can be much more personalized to a specific disease or problem. So that's kind of why the pharmaceutical industry has gone this way. But basically a biologic is either manufactured in, extracted from, or semi-synthesized from a biological source. So this is going to be your vaccines, your gene therapies, monoclonal antibodies, anything biologically based, so proteins. So you can see that the complexity between a traditional drug, which is chemically created, to utilizing a biologic is far greater. So the testing has to be a little bit different. So, and also the administration is different, that it is almost always by injection or infusion. But we've made some major therapeutic advances, specifically within rheumatology and oncology. So like I said, this is really the new way that pharma is going. And you can see some of these trade names. Hopefully some of these are recognizable to you, especially Humira. But that is a monoclonal antibody, and that is something that we worked on. And then you can see some of the other technologies, vaccine, but hormones as well. So we're doing all of that kind of testing in our labs. Last, because I do know that there are a lot of folks at UW Madison and within the UW school system that are micro majors. We do have a specific microbiology lab, and that specializes in a few types of studies. There's a lot of pipetting in all of our biologics labs, but of course micro as well. But they're doing MLT testing, BET testing. Those are our two biggest, and actually our interns get to do that testing, as well as disinfectant efficacy studies as well. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what we're actually doing in the labs, what you would be doing potentially as an intern or as a full-time employee, just depending on where you are at in your collegiate career. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Shakira for our last section here to talk about opportunities. So with that, Shakira, I'll go to the next slide for you.
All righty. All right, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is our summer laboratory externship program. We actually launched this program for the first time last summer. We launched it in our Richmond location, which is our bioanalytical lab, and then at our GMP laboratory, which is in Middleton, Wisconsin, which is kind of what Susan has been covering. This particular opportunity or program that we have is open to rising juniors, which is going to be current sophomores. It was a 1-week program. It was unpaid, but it was full of a ton of learning opportunities. They got to shadow different areas of the lab. They've got to talk to some of the assistant scientists, and senior scientists within those different departments. We had put together a ton of different networking and professional development workshops. I know that we did like a LinkedIn workshop. We also looked over like their resumes. We talked about the difference between a resume and a CV, just kind of breaking down for students, you know, like the difference between those two. And we also just went over some of the different departments in the lab as well as like a learning opportunity within that professional development workshop. At the end of this particular program, you do have the opportunity to interview for a internship position for next summer. Which I will get into what our summer internship is. But applications are going to be opening in the spring, so we will be keeping you all updated on what those look like and when those will be posted. Alrighty, so moving on to the summer laboratory internship program. This is an opportunity that is 12 weeks. It goes throughout the whole summer. Normally starts mid-May and kind of ends mid-August, mid to end August. But this is a paid internship, so you do get paid for the duration of the 12 weeks. It normally starts with training, so you do go through like a portion of our new employee training that we have called NEOP. You get hands-on experience within the lab, so you get to harp your current skills that you've learned through your academic background, but you also get to learn how to use them in a laboratory setting. You do get to run different assays and things like that. You do go through these things called SOPs that we have to just help you get to the next level and get through those trainings so that you can get more exposure to more things within your department. We do allow, we do give all of our interns a mentor. So this is somebody who you could be working alongside in the lab, but this is somebody who may, if you can't have necessarily conversation with your supervisor, you can definitely talk with your mentor and kind of have those career path conversations with and things like that. More networking opportunities. So we do some of the similar networking opportunities that we give to the externs, we also do for the interns plus more. So definitely ways to help them learn how to network. Some of the things that you'll be doing within the summer laboratory internship program is, again, developing on those skills. You will get an opportunity to rotate through different departments to see, you'll be assigned to a specific department, but you will have opportunities to shadow and even collaborate with other departments during the duration of the internship, which will just allow you to be a little bit more well-rounded and really know exactly what you want to do within the lab. Again, those professional development opportunities and workshops will be there as well. We really want you to focus on relationship building while you are in these particular departments and even shadowing other departments, connecting and getting acquainted with other colleagues, because, if you come on full time, they will be your colleagues. So just getting to know them during that internship stage is very, very important. We also you'll also be engaging with different coaching and different developmental stages, like of course having those conversations with your mentor that maybe you want to have with your supervisor but kind of don't know how. Your mentor can kind of be that guide to kind of help you on how to structure certain conversations and how to do certain things. You will be needed to attend different meetings and also client conference calls. You'll be prepped and you'll go through training to know how to perform those and like how to talk to different clients and things like that. And then there are other ad hoc tasks that you will be having to do just based off of like the needs of your supervisor, anything that they have or need you to work on. And then who is eligible for our summer laboratory internship? So we are looking for those who are currently enrolled in like an undergraduate degree program, usually in life sciences. So we have some of the majors below, chemistry, biology, biochemistry, biotech, microbiology, and many more that kind of fall under that life sciences. This particular position is open to rising seniors, so those who are currently juniors, with the graduation date of December of 2024 and May of 2025. Now I'm just going to kind of, oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Shakira. But with that being said, those dates seem pretty pushed out. But I want to make sure that we explain that our internship program for this summer is full. We have filled all those positions as of about 2 months ago. So these dates are meant to reflect next year's program.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I do want to touch
you ready for the next slide?
Oh, not yet, Susan. I do want to touch on something that we don't necessarily have up, but we do have our summer diversity internship program, which we like to say is a program within a program. This is just offered to those, this is additional benefits and resources that is open to those who identify with like an underrepresented minority group. We have, they also get a technical mentor and a mentor from one of our BRGs, along with all of the things that students get within the regular summer, the portion of the summer laboratory internship. You can go to the next slide now, Susan. Alrighty, so the next opportunity that we have is going to be our clinical research internship program. And this program actually started with a partnership that we made with UNCW, which is a college within Wilmington, North Carolina. And this is because they actually have the clinical research degree program. And so we decided to partner with them to create this particular internship. It is 8 months long, so it does start within the fall semester, usually in September, and it goes through April, so into the spring semester. So it's something that they do while they're attending their fall and spring semester. All the interns usually are seniors who are majoring in clinical research, health science, or public health. Yeah. And these particular interns, like this is kind of different from the laboratory summer internship program because they are doing this during the school year and it is happening during their senior year, but they will get to get experience in just like different clinical laboratory areas. And interns are normally placed into like clinical admin roles, monitoring roles, project management roles, those type of things. The structure for this particular internship program, the recruitment normally begins in the spring. So I will be starting to to recruit for this program here soon. And then they normally start in the fall semester, as I've said before. Interns are going to be paired with a mentor, just like our other programs, and they will have the opportunity to participate in resume interview, career prep type of networking workshops as well. And then the interns will also have to go through the like LMS, which is our like learning system that we have, and they will have to complete just different learning systems and things so that they can continue to excel within the duration of the program.
Yeah, so this program, it is open to applicants across across the United States. It's just that when this position, or when this program was founded, close to 20 years ago, I believe, most of our full-time needs were in the Wilmington area. That has changed, especially considering how many positions are remote capable now. So we are expanding this. You can see that we've grown to a few other schools on the East Coast, but we are now expanding this to applicants across the U.S., which is why we wanted to make sure that you all were aware of it. And we're, in terms of majors that we are seeking, I know that UW Madison does not offer specifically a clinical research degree. So if you're majoring in life sciences, you're a good potential fit for this program. The commitment of hours, I want to make sure is very clear that because this is the entire school year, you need to be prepared to commit about 15 to 20 hours per week, September through April or May. So it is something to consider. Can you truly handle that as part of your class load, or your overall capacity in concurrence with your class load? So, but wanted to make sure that we are, sharing this opportunity with all students that we connect with this semester.
Yes, and I think something that like we've kind of hinted on, but didn't necessarily say, this is a remote program. Alrighty. So now going into just some okay, there we go. Early career opportunities in the laboratory. So we have our 3 laboratory locations, which is in Wisconsin, our GMP lab. We have our bioanalytical lab in Richmond, and we have our central lab in Highland Heights, Kentucky. And we do have entry-level roles for the labs. Usually when you're looking for an entry-level role, it'll be something like entry-level scientist, assistant scientist, entry-level chemist, entry-level biologist, something like that. Who is eligible for these particular roles is going to be someone with a 4-year degree in those life science majors. We also have some forensics in there, biotech as well. No experience required for these entry-level roles. Again, those are just some of the majors that we're looking for. And then your day-to-day pretty much consists of like bench work. You'll be in the lab for most of the time in the day, and most of your days of the week you'll be in the lab, just working on different like things such as like prepping samples, running different methods, and also working with assays and running different assays, sampling, pipetting, things like that. You will get our training, which is our new employee training that we have, which is NEOP. And then within our GMP lab, we have our different departments. So you could be placed in any of these departments. It's going to be biopharm, our small molecule, our inhalation. We have our cell, and then we have our gene and cell therapy, extractables and leachables, and microbiology. For our bioanalytical lab, we have our vaccines, we have PCR, biomarker, immunochemistry, and also our chromatography department. And then in Highland Heights, we have like a combination of like remote roles, and then also laboratory roles as well. But we have our medical technology, microbiology, chemistry. We have our project management, and we also have like logistics, data management, and hematology as well. All right, so the next slide. So now going into more of like our CDSD side of CRG, we have entry-level roles there as well. And this role is pretty much going to be what we usually call our CTC role, and this is going to be our clinical trials coordinator. So usually what the day-to-day for this particular role would look like is just mainly administrative duties, such as like working with like technical support to help support the different departments with just project teams, helping support the different project teams, reviewing regulatory documents, really working on like that documentation, and also monitoring and investigating sites, tracking various actions, things like that. It's very administrative. And then for this particular role, they are looking for like life science. Well, like life science is preferred, not necessarily specifically, because they do open it up to public health roles as well. And there isn't like a degree that is required for this specific role. They do look for some experience or like administrative experience for this role. It is preferred, definitely not required. And they also will go through a particular training for like all new colleagues go through this specific training just to make sure that they are aware of just some of the things that our company offers and also what they will be doing. And they have to go through like different testing, things like that. And this position is 100% remote, in person, and also hybrid, just depending on the business needs for the particular role. Susan, anything that you would like to add?
No, I think we're good. I want to make sure that we leave some time for questions. It looks like a few have come in on in the chat. So Emily, I wasn't sure if you were going to read those out for us, or.
Yeah, so Susan,
that was me.
Yeah, it was Abby put in some of the opportunities that they had within PPD, part of Thermo Fisher. So does anyone else have any other questions that they'd like to throw in the chat? I think we will kind of just hang around for a little bit.
Well, hopefully we were very thorough for everybody on the call. Overall, I want to just point everybody to our website, and that's just jobs.thermofisher.com. And you'll find all of our current openings. We don't have everything listed at the entry level that we do plan to open. So I would say if you are, close to graduation, with that May graduation date, I would keep an eye on the website over the next 3 to 4 weeks. As that's when we'll be posting most of our roles that we intend to hire May grads into.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you very much for that that information, and thank you, Susan, Abby, and Shakira, for being able to give your time and your energy today. And thank you to the UW Systems Career Committee for the collaboration on this project. And today's track has been recorded and will be made available on the UW River Falls website by next week, Monday. So if you all would like to look back at this recording or check out any of our other previous recordings that we've had for these career tracks, head to that website at UW River Falls and look at UW career tracks. Other than that, thank you very much, everyone, for participating today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you, everyone.